What's up guys, it's your boy the Gunsmith. I'm here at the University of Waterloo, which is my alma mater. This is where I did my mechanical engineering degree, and I'm actually still working as a mechanical engineer. It's been 7 years now since I graduated, so the time really has flown. I had a wonderful experience here. Well, actually it was a bit of a mixed experience. It took me a while to really get used to the university environment, and by the time I started liking it, it was time to move on. So really cherish your university or college days because they won't come back around unless you decide to get another degree. But you know, the youth doesn't come back around, so I sound like an old man, but yo, it's kind of nice to go back to your old school after 7, 8, 10 years and just remember what sort of mind state you were going through when you were young and check out the campus again, relive some memories. It's kind of nice, so that's why I decided to do this vlog. Hope you guys enjoy it. So if anybody's considering coming to the University of Waterloo, I'm going to tell you right now, you know, it's one of the best universities ever. Not that I've been to any others, but I think it's a really great school. It's definitely going to challenge you. You're going to become more independent. You're going to learn to make good decisions by yourself and critical thinking. I think it's a great school overall. It's not the most beautiful campus, but it's got personality. The university is about 50 years old. Started in 1957, I believe, and it started off with the engineering faculty and the math faculty, and later on they added all the others, and now the arts faculty is one of the biggest. Lately they've expanded and added a nanotechnology building, they've added some more engineering buildings, so it's a campus that's continuously evolving, and now that I come back 7 years later, a lot has changed, but it's good to see that some things haven't changed that much. This is UW Plaza. This was really close to where I used to stay, which was UW Place, so it's right across the street from that dorm. And there were a lot of restaurants here that I used to come eat at when I was living by myself and not really cooking that much. There's a campus pizza. It's open very late. I'm talking like 3, 4 a.m. So when we had late night study sessions, this is where we would come to refuel and keep going. And when every other place closes, that's where you gotta go. It's campus pizza. There's a couple other places I used to eat, like Subway, Eastside Mario's when we were hanging out with friends and wanted to go somewhere a bit nicer. There's a Farrah's Food Mart convenience store, and this is where I actually used to do all my grocery shopping and snack shopping, and it was actually very expensive, but it's convenient as heck because it's basically right across the street, so I didn't want to get on a bus and go down the street for half an hour to go to a grocery store, so I would just get it from the convenience store. So I wasted a lot of money at that place, you know, probably thousands of dollars over the 5 years I was here. That's what you do as a student. You gotta save time because you only have so much time, especially if you're in engineering. There's also a FedEx here, and there used to be a Kinko's. When we were doing all these engineering reports, everyone would come here to print their reports and get them bound and get them nicely presented to submit them. Every time we came here to print off our reports, you'd see everyone from the class. There's also a place I used to go to called Curry in a Hurry. This place was a bit funny because as soon as you sat down and you placed your order, you'd get your Indian food in about 5 to 10 minutes. That's because they didn't actually cook anything, they just got it catered and they would just microwave it behind closed doors and bring it out to you. So it always looked a little funny because there was like a bit of skin on top because it looked like it just came out of the microwave, because that's what it actually was. We ate at very random places, but that's the life of an engineering student. So guys, this is Mel's Diner. This was one of my favorite places to come to with my friends. Their food was really greasy and filling and comfort food. Once in a while you just need that as a student when you've been studying all day long. After I graduated, I heard that this entire plaza actually burned down. So I was pretty sad to hear that Mel's Diner was gone. But when I came back a few years later, I see that it's rebuilt. So that's pretty nice to see. This is UW Place. This was my dorm for many of the years that I was here at University of Waterloo, specifically EB Hall, this tall building over here. So I was also a residence assistant over here. That means that I was in charge of the floor, organizing community events and helping people feel like they're at home so that they don't get homesick. As a residence assistant, you're just there. You're like a big bro to other students on the floor. So that was a nice role. I actually did that for almost 2 years that I was here. The UW Place, I liked it because it's so close to the university and it's so close to my engineering classes and also the plaza, so that way I could get food and groceries really easily. I'll tell you a funny story. So when I first moved in here, I was only 18, right? There were a couple of international students that I was paired with as roommates. So there's 3 of us in one suite, and these guys are just totally fresh off the boat. I mean, they just actually came off a boat. They actually had their girlfriends and their friends come over every single night. They were very loud. They used to cook all the time and leave a huge mess. Basically the worst roommates ever. I never wanted to stay in that suite, so basically I only came there to sleep, and whenever I was there I would be in my room and have my room shut because I did not want to see these guys or talk to them because they were just really distant. I guess they were just new to the country. I'm not going to tell you what race they are because it doesn't matter what race they are. Point is, they just were too fresh to Canada and just not fun to live with. But after that, you know, I got adjusted to the university, to the place, but this is where it all started, man. This is where the dream started of me being a mechanical engineer, and this is where the dream came true as well. This place was my old home. Also, it's nice to see that they're expanding this dorm because some of the buildings are starting to get old. So it looks like they're building a massive new building as part of UW Place. I don't know how many people are going to live here, but it looks a lot bigger than EB Hall and even Beck Hall that's behind it. So that's cool that the university is constantly expanding because it's a great place. So I'm glad that more people are going to come here to study and turn out to be awesome people like me, you know what I'm saying? So down at the ground level of Beck Hall was the community center. Every single dorm in University of Waterloo, and I'm sure everywhere in the world, has a community center. Basically you have stuff like a ping pong table, pool, board games, DVDs that you can rent out. Back then we actually had VHS tapes, you know, I feel a bit old. There was a front desk and it was 24 hours. People will be there to help you out, answer any questions, you know, if you run into any kind of emergencies. So I think that kind of support is really essential for a young student who's like 17, 18 years old and possibly coming all the way from India, China, and they're here in a foreign country in a new university, so you need that sort of support system. So I'm glad I was part of residence life and I helped out students that way. It's a good way to give back when you're a little bit older and make other students feel like it's gonna be okay. So guys, this walkway is very familiar to me. This is the way I used to take every single day to go to my engineering classes. So all the engineering buildings were basically right next to each other. So there was Carl Pollock Hall, Douglas Wright Engineering, there was RCH, which I don't remember what that stood for. Seems like they're all still there. So yeah, I'm just gonna walk through and try to reawaken some old memories. This glass hallway is where I had a lot of my engineering labs. So this is where we basically got a computer workstation and we solved some sort of engineering problems and learned some new software. This was where we hung out late nights trying to write some reports, and this is where a lot of friendships were formed too, because if you're pretty much screwed on your lab and the other guy is too, then you're probably going to end up working together, helping each other out, and that's how friends are made, you know? So this right here is South Campus Hall. This is where the UW bookstore is, so I bought all my textbooks from here. So first year I actually came here and I bought all these massive textbooks. They were actually like $1,000. If you're from India, in Indian rupees, that's like 52,000 rupees, man. That's a lot to pay for like 5 books. University can be quite expensive in North America, even more in the United States. But I mean, that's why you got, you know, student loans and grants, and if you study really hard, you get some scholarships and stuff. I got a couple of those, not too many. You know, I'm not trying to brag, but you really have to work hard to get that paper, man. That's pretty much what the student grind is about. You guys know what I'm saying. But anyway, this is where I used to get all my books and stationery and stuff like that. You know, those are the tools of the trade. This is the graduate house. I didn't actually know a lot about this place when I was here, but recently I looked it up and apparently it's just a club or a lounge of sorts for graduate students. Now I was an undergraduate student, meaning I was doing my bachelor's degree, so I never actually went in this place, but it looks like a nice little house on a little hill. It's one of the few scenic spots on campus because the campus is pretty Spartan, I would say. It's just got all the buildings it needs and some trees, which is nice, but it's not one of the most beautiful campuses in the world, but it is to me because I went here. Guys, this is the Dana Porter Library. This is the tallest building on campus, I think, or it used to be when I was here, but now there's some taller buildings. It's a landmark building because you can see it from all directions of the campus, so if you're ever lost, you know that this one's right in the center. Looks like a big old sugar cube. I actually never came here, to be honest. It's an arts library, so didn't really have anything for engineers, but I think if I went to this campus now, I would probably spend more time here because I'm more into the arts now, more into literature, poetry, and all that good stuff, so I'll probably come here a little bit more now. But one time I did come here to shoot a music video scene. So Dana Porter Library, this is the center of the campus. Guys, behind me is the arts lecture hall. I wasn't gonna shout out any arts buildings because you know I'm an engineer, but this place is where I got my iron ring. It was an interesting day. It was a very secretive event, so I can't actually tell you anything about it. I don't actually wear my iron ring either, but I did for a while. It's a symbol of pride for many engineers. Me, I carry my pride on the inside, so I don't wear it. But I still work as an engineer, so I still fulfill the responsibilities of a professional engineer. although I'm not a professional engineer yet. So guys, this is the Student Life Center. This is a popular hangout for students. I used to come here often, a couple of times a week just to grab a coffee, grab some lunch. There's a nice lounge area. There's actually a pub here and a nightclub called the Bomb Shelter. And every Wednesday night they would have a party or club night. And a lot of people used to go to that. I went there a few times as well. It's a pretty nice scene. They also used to have an arcade here called the Campus Cove. They shut it down a long time ago. But that was my favorite place on campus, you know what I'm saying? I used to go there all the time, spend some quarters, because sometimes you just need a break from all the studying. So Student Life Center is a pretty nice place to chill. This is the physical activities complex, or the PAC. This is where you come to play basketball, squash, and all those things. I came here a few times with my friends to play squash, and it's a pretty good complex. But the memories I have associated with this place are actually of writing exams, believe it or not. Because in first and second year, when our classes had a lot of people, there was actually no class on campus to, fit that many people in for an exam. So we actually used to write it here in the gym. So imagine being in this wide open gym, and you've got 1,000 people around you just sweating, trying to solve this hard physics problem, and half the people are panicking. A lot of people have to go to the bathroom, and it's just a very intense experience. So that's the thing I remember from first year. So guys, this is the path leading to Village 1, Ronite Village, and Mackenzie King Village. This is where a majority of the first year students stay at the University of Waterloo. The rest of them stay at UW Place, where I did. And there's a couple other dorms as well. And Village 1, this is actually the largest one, so they've got meal plans for everybody. They've got a nice cafeteria. It's more of a close-knit living experience where you've got a lot of small rooms, you've got shared bathrooms. So I couldn't do that. I wanted my space. I wanted a nice suite to myself, my own bathroom, kitchen, and all that. That's why I stayed at UW Place, because I like the deluxe experience. So that's basically what these dorms are about. A lot of people live here and they're pretty nice. These villages is also where we did the orientation for all the residence assistants. They called it the Dawn Orientation. It was actually some of the most fun days of my university life, where I met all the other residence assistants. Basically, there were a lot of fun orientation activities. They taught us about how to deal with the students, how to plan fun events for them, how to deal with crises and all that stuff. There's a lot of positive vibes, and that's where I met my friend Raymond Chan. You've seen him in my videos like Types of Action Movie Deaths and some of my old rap videos and the accounting song and stuff like that. So met a lot of good people here, good friendships. The residence life experience, like I said, is one of the best experiences of university. So I would encourage all university and college students to get involved in some kind of extracurricular stuff, because it just enriches your university life. You might feel like, it's hard to make time for all that, but later on when you're 30 or 35 or 40, you're gonna look back fondly on all those memories, because you're gonna feel like you really got everything out of your student life and your growing up phase. So you really want to milk those years for all they're worth, and it'll add a lot to your life. This is Federation Hall on the north side of campus. This is where all the concerts and jams and parties and events go down. I checked out some concerts here like 3 Days Grace, Theory of a Dead Band. Back then, rock music was really big, so these Canadian rock bands used to come down and play here, and I checked out a few of them, so that was pretty fun. But let me tell you a couple of funny stories. So Frosh Week, right? So there was this jam going on here. That's part of the orientation week. In engineering, they gave us this big yellow hard hat, right? So I went to this jam wearing this big yellow hard hat, and it looked like it was a Halloween thing. I dressed up like it was a costume, but everyone else was just partying, so I kind of looked really funny. I was 17 years old, so I didn't mind being a dork, so I was dancing there with my engineering hard hat, so that was pretty fun. One more story I'll tell you from second year. So there was this party going on here, right? It was called a foam party. So I was like, what's a foam party? I didn't actually know. So I told my buddy, yo man, let's go check out this foam party, right? So he was like, what's a foam party? I'm like, I don't know, let's go check it out. We bought tickets, we went in, and there's all these girls in bikinis and guys in beach shorts, and there's foam raining from the top, and they're just basically bathing in it. And we're these two brown guys, in jeans and t-shirts, and we're just sitting in a corner like, yo, we did not dress appropriately for this party. So that was really funny, and we probably looked really creepy sitting there because everyone else was almost naked. It was just too funny, man. It's one of the memories I always remember. Most people have their awkward phase in high school, but I think I had it in university. The big building behind me is called the Math Center, or MC. I only had 1 or 2 classes at this building, but I just wanted to point out that it looks like the fortress from Super Mario Brothers, and I always thought there was a princess or a dragon or something going on. But yeah, it's just a cool looking building, very imposing. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about it. This is the Davis Center, aka DC. This is where a lot of engineering and math students had some classes, and there were also some computer labs and pretty nice library here called the DC Library, where people used to just not really study but just hang out. I never really did that, but it was a popular place for especially Indian students to just hang around. I just want to point out that this is a very cool building. I love the architecture. It's quite modern. I love the glass design, and I think it's modeled after an integrated circuit. I think it's very fitting because a lot of computer engineers had classes here. Quite an inspiring design, so I like this building a lot. They also have a pretty nice cafeteria here. Just right here is a place where I used to hang out a lot and have lunch, so it's nice to pass by old hangouts like that. This is where I used to take the bus to go home back to Brampton. Every couple of weeks you feel a little homesick and you feel you want to get some home-cooked food. So this is where I used to take the bus. It took me all the way to Mississauga, and then I used to take the bus home. Now I've got a car, so I haven't taken the bus in quite some time, but back then I used to take the bus everywhere. It's all part of growing up. So behind me is a brand new engineering building called Engineering 5. This was actually constructed after I graduated. When we were here, the tuition was a little bit high, and we always wondered, what's it all going towards? Well, it's going towards building all these new cool buildings. I guess we didn't really get to enjoy them, but I'm glad that the campus looks nicer and more modern now. So I'm glad that the engineering students get to enjoy more modern facilities. The ones that we studied in weren't bad. They were just pretty old buildings, and the labs were a little bit run down, but we still got a really solid education, so I don't have any grievances against the university because that turned out okay. This is the Environmental Sciences building, but I never really came here for anything except maybe to buy a couple of books. There's also a very cool Earth Sciences museum here where you can check out some fossils, some fake fossils, some geodes, quartzes, and all that good stuff. If you're into earth sciences and you're into archaeology, check out the Earth Sciences Museum. It's a nice place to stop by if you live in Waterloo. So we reached the end of the vlog, and I thought I would end it at Tatum Centre, which is a co-op education center here at the University of Waterloo. The University of Waterloo has one of the best co-op education systems in the world. If you're in engineering or math, you get to have a lot of paid internships as part of your degree program. So I actually had about 6 of them during the almost 5 years I was here at this university doing my engineering. So the first job interview that I ever had was right here at Tatum Centre. So it was in the middle of exams. Right after an exam, I had to put on my suit and rush here and get to the interview. So most people, their first job is at the mall or McDonald's, but I was always too lazy in high school. I didn't want to do anything at all. So my first job interview was actually for an aerospace company, and I was very nervous, like you have no idea. I was only 18 and I'm interviewing for this big shot aerospace company, but I actually got the job, so that was very fortunate, and after that everything worked out. This was part of my growing up experience, and I wanted to share all these nostalgic moments with you guys. This is part of my story and part of my history. I actually shot a couple of music videos here at the University of Waterloo called Streets of Waterloo Part 1 and 2 with my friend Raymond Chan. I've left the links for those videos in the description so you guys can check them out. And that's it, man. That's the end of my vlog. Tell me about your universities in the comments. If you guys like your campus or if you hate it, would you ever want to come study at Waterloo? Or if you have any questions about this campus, let me know too. And make sure you guys subscribe because I've got a lot more vlogs coming. This one was more of a personal one, but I'll be sharing a lot more with you about food, and wherever I travel in the world, I'm going to show you guys all the photos. Subscribe to me on YouTube and we'll keep this party going.